Imagine finding a place in the world where your entire life is condensed into a single day, causing you to age years in minutes. This is the premise of the movie Old, where a family on a tropical vacation discovers that the secluded beach hides a sinister mystery. The Kappa family is in a van on their way to a vacation resort in the Dominican Republic. Guy and Priska's eldest daughter, 11-year-old Maddox, is cheerful, singing, and everything seems peaceful. In reality, her parents plan to divorce, but neither she nor her 6-year-old brother, Trent, know about it yet. The trip is just a way to ease into it all and open up about what is about to happen. At the hotel, they are greeted by the manager, and a friendly staff member brings them welcome drinks. The youngest son, Trent, quickly befriends the manager's nephew, Idlib. On the beach in front of the hotel, the pair starts chatting with various other guests, asking their names and what they do for a living, in a playful tone. Later, Trent receives a letter from his new friend with codes to decipher, revealing a message. The next morning, the same family is invited by the manager to visit a deserted beach of stunning beauty, a unique, secret experience, and for a select few, he says. In the dining hall, a guest, Patricia, has an epileptic seizure. As she recovers, a staff member offers her a drink to make her feel better. Next, the Kappas board a van along with another family, who was also invited for the excursion. Trent quickly wants to know the names and professions of the people. They are Dr. Charles, his mother, his wife Crystal, and their daughter Kara. The driver drops them off at the beginning of a trail to the beach. They hike through a canyon to the designated spot. The scenery is truly breathtaking. The tourists enjoy the beach, carefree. Suddenly, the children, playing near the rocks, find remnants of objects that likely came from the hotel and were left by other visitors. Next, Trent comes across the body of a woman floating in the water. The young woman had arrived with a rapper who had a nosebleed. Everyone immediately becomes suspicious of him, and tension fills the air. Charles's mother feels something strange in her chest. The sun is scorching. At the same time, Priska notices that her son Trent is acting differently. When they decide they need to leave urgently, they discover that there is no cell phone signal on the island. Then a new couple, also hotel guests, arrives on the island. It's Patricia, the epileptic girl, and her husband, who is a nurse. Dr. Charles remains very suspicious of the rapper's intentions, until suddenly, his mother falls ill. The nurse goes into the clearing to look for a cell phone signal to call for help, but something strange prevents him from passing. Then he faints and wakes up on the beach, not understanding what happened, saying he felt a strong pressure in his head. The lady, Charles's mother, tells her son not to get angry and instead try to help people. Priska asks for help to find out what's happening to her children, who are growing too fast. At that very moment, they think they've spotted a glow at the top of the mountain. Charles's mother suddenly stops breathing and passes away. The newly arrived couple talks to Trent and Maddox. Priska and Guy join them and are shocked to see how much older their children look. They can't even fit into their own clothes. The rapper tries to leave through the gap in the rocks but can't pass, feeling cranial pressure, fainting, and then waking up on the beach, next to the doctor, who followed him and also collapsed. Terrified, they all try to leave that isolated beach, but without success. The children continue to age. The doctor, completely disturbed by his mother's death and everything that is happening there, hits the rapper in the face with a knife, and while everyone tries to resolve the confusion, the cut on the rapper's face inexplicably heals. As they talk about the reasons for their trip, they discover disturbing coincidences, as the rapper claimed that the girl who was with him and had passed away had multiple sclerosis, that they met at the hotel because both had illnesses, and he reveals to everyone that he has a rare blood coagulation problem. Priska, Charles, and Patricia also had their medical diagnoses in common. Priska had a tumor, Dr. Charles was schizophrenic, and Patricia was epileptic. The group discusses the possibilities and realizes that passing through the crevice will be impossible. They conclude that the rock was responsible for everything that was happening. The magnetism was affecting their body cells, accelerating processes, and when they tried to leave, their bodies couldn't adapt to the environment, which is why they would faint. The The doctor's daughter, Kara, suddenly appears pregnant next to Trent, believing it was just from eating too much, but her belly grows in front of everyone, leaving them shocked and unsure of what to do, and in a matter of minutes, the baby is born. But with everything happening so quickly, the baby loses its life shortly after. Charles appears to be in a complete schizophrenic crisis after all of this. He goes crazy and takes the rapper's life with a knife. The nurse volunteers to swim and look for another way out of there. The doctor is completely paranoid and talking to himself. Maddox, in the midst of it all, talking to her mother, discovers her parents' marriage crisis. Her mother has a lover her father didn't know. Shortly after that, she goes into the sea, seeking maturity, and ends up finding the nurse's body. His wife, Patricia, is devastated and very scared. Kara holds her baby's body and talks to Trent about memories they never had and would never have. The baby's body turns to dust rapidly. The young girl decides to climb the rock to try to escape from that terrifying place, but near the top, she feels dizzy, falls, and loses her life. Crystal is in very bad shape. She has a calcium deficiency, and her body is deteriorating. Guy tells Priska that he already knew about the other man in her life. She asks for forgiveness. The siblings, Trent and Maddox, find notebooks with notes from other guests who died there before them, and in one of them, it's written that the magnetism at that exact point on Earth causes rapid aging of the human body's cells. Trent has an idea to create a metal tube that they can enter, which would prevent this phenomenon. But how? They also find a list with the names of people who were there before them on that beach. Then they spot a camera on the hill. The doctor attacks Priska's husband, who isn't seeing well. The mother asks her children to hide, and they end up finding Crystal, who is suffering from the transformations in her body. She ends up dying in front of them. Priska hits Charles, who was trying to kill her husband, with a rusty blade. Almost instantly, he dies of tetanus. Now, only the Kappa family is left alive. Their father is losing his memory and can't even remember why they wanted to leave that beach. He passes away right there. Priska walks to the sea and passes away right there due to her tumor. The next morning, the sun is scorching, and the siblings are older. They estimate that they have about 13 hours left to live. They decide to build a sand castle before trying to leave again. Trent remembers a message from his friend he met at the hotel, the manager's nephew. It was a message he hadn't deciphered yet. Each symbol was a letter. It said, "My uncle doesn't like the coral." That letter was a warning. The coral could protect them from the effects of the rocks just like a metal tube. So they swim to the coral, but Maddox gets stuck at the top of the mountain. The driver, who had taken everyone to the beach, was watching everything with binoculars and cameras. He waits to see if the siblings will manage to get through the coral, and then concludes that the last members of Test 73 have drowned. He returns to the base with the footage. The hotel was just a facade to attract potential subjects for pharmaceutical tests. Everyone on the beach was part of Test 73, which means that several other people had already died there. The hotel manager was the head of a team of scientists who had been testing experimental drugs on sick humans. In Patricia's case, they considered it a victory that she had spent 16 years on that beach without having a single seizure, until the one that was fatal and killed her. In the laboratory, he gives a speech about the need and importance of testing drugs in one day rather than in a lifetime, sacrificing a few people to save hundreds of thousands of others. Back at the hotel, new guests are arriving and are welcomed by the manager. Welcome drinks are being served to some people, but someone prevents another tragedy from happening. Maddox and Trent are there, adults now, and they tell everyone, including the police officer they met at the beginning of the movie, about the pharmaceutical industry and what was happening on the beach. Trent hands the police officer the notebook containing the names of the various people who have passed through that beach. He also finds the boy, the manager's nephew, and shows him his letter. The siblings had, after all, managed to cross the coral and escape death before their time. In a helicopter, the police officer is taking Trent and Maddox to their aunt's house. The police officer wants to know, how would their aunt handle this situation? Trent responds with another question. How would you feel if a 50-year-old man called and said he's your 6-year-old nephew? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Here are 2 more videos for you to keep watching. Until next time.